Okay, so as you saw the thumbnail and the title, we are going to go through part one of the indictment for Brandon Dillard and his associates, the companies, everything that's named in this indictment. It is split up because it is 65 pages, and I realized I need to make this into parts. So we're starting with we're starting with what we're starting with. And this is going to be a read through, and then I'll read comments and everything after I get to the end of this part. And I can also offer my thoughts at that time, but mostly I'll just be reading the document itself so y'all can know what are the details in here. So it is the indictment. It says the state of Georgia versus Brandon Alfonso Dillard, counts 1 through 110, Elias Mauricio Soto Moreno, count 1, a-List Cosmetics, counts 1 through 110, the Veneer Collection, count 1, and A-List Institute, count 1. And here are the counts broken down. You have RICO for count 1, counts 2 through 55 are theft by deception, counts 56 through 79, practice of dentistry without a license, counts 80 through 100 is battery, count 101 is conspiracy to commit insurance fraud. 102 is conspiracy to defraud a political subdivision of the state. Count 103 is theft by taking. Count 104 is commercial gambling. And counts 105 through 110 are possession of dangerous drugs. All right. And this was signed by the grand jury on November 21st, 2025. Okay, and let me get this up real fast here. All right. It says, in the name and behalf of the citizens of Georgia, charge and accuse Brandon Alfonso Dillard, Elias Mauricio Soto Moreno, A-List Cosmetics, the Veneer Collection, A-List Institute, with the offense of violation of the Georgia RICO Act, for the said accused individually and as persons concerned in the commission of a crime in Fulton County, Georgia, on and between January 8th, 2021 and October 5th, 2024. So almost, 3 years worth, over 3 years, unlawfully conspired and endeavored to acquire and maintain directly and indirectly an interest in and control of United States currency through a pattern of racketeering activity, and while associated with an enterprise, unlawfully conspired and endeavored to conduct and participate in, directly and indirectly, such enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, as described below and incorporated by reference as if fully set forth herein, contrary to the laws of said state, the good order, peace, and dignity thereof. So, the overview. From at least January 8th, 2021 through October 5th, 2024, Brandon Alfonso Dillard, together with others known and unknown to the grand jury, operated A-List Smiles, a fraudulent business operation engaged in the unlicensed practice of dentistry and medicine that defrauded hundreds of victims in Fulton County, Georgia, and elsewhere. To create the false appearance of legitimacy, Dillard created and maintained multiple interconnected corporate entities, including A-List Cosmetics, the Veneer Collection, and A-List Institute, through which he marketed illegal dental and medical procedures, promoted and sold veneer related products, and conducted fraudulent veneer training courses. Dillard falsely represented to the public that he was legally authorized to perform dental and medical procedures despite having only a high school equivalency diploma and no degrees, professional qualifications, or licensure. Through A-List Cosmetics, which operated under the name A-List Smiles, Dillard performed a range of illegal dental procedures, including placing composite and porcelain veneers, installing bridges and crowns, removing braces, tooth shaving, deep cleanings, and fillings. These procedures were performed in a professionally outfitted office suite containing multiple procedure rooms, equipped with dental chairs and equipment to create the false appearance of a legitimate dental practice. Victims paid thousands of dollars for these procedures, which were illegally performed by Dillard and his co conspirators without proper training and which often caused permanent damage to victims' teeth and related structures. Dillard also illegally offered unlicensed medical procedures, including injectable cosmetic filler procedures, to victims' buttocks, lips, and faces. Through A-List Institute, Dillard and Elias Mauricio Soto Moreno regularly conducted fraudulent training courses in the placing of composite veneers in Atlanta and other cities. Although Soto Moreno was licensed as a dentist in the Republic of Colombia, he had no license or authority to practice dentistry or to conduct such courses in Georgia. Victims paid thousands of dollars to participate in these courses, which included basic equipment, classroom style instruction with live demonstrations, and certificates of completion that falsely suggested that the training was lawful and that it authorized participants to perform dental procedures. In reality, the courses provided no legitimate credentials and instead exposed unwitting participants to criminal liability for illegally practicing dentistry without a license. Dillard also created the Veneer collection to sell a line of veneer related products that he cross marketed alongside his illegal dental procedures. Dillard relied heavily on social media, including Instagram and TikTok, to advertise his procedures, courses, and products, and he used well known social media influencers to generate promotional content for his businesses in exchange for free or discounted procedures. Dillard further enlisted the services of an attorney who assisted in concealing his crimes from authorities, drafted false and misleading liability waivers advised, I'm sorry, drafted false and misleading liability waivers, advised Dillard on methods to hide the proceedings of his criminal activity, and attempted to intimidate whistleblowers through misleading cease and desist letters. As a result of his crimes, Dillard generated at least $4 million in illicit revenue, which he used to purchase designer clothing, luxury vehicles, custom jewelry, international travel, and a luxury high rise condominium. Dillard regularly flaunted these items on social media to create the false appearance of legitimacy and wealth, attract new victims, and encourage participation in his illegal veneer training courses. Throughout the scheme, Dillard exercised control over all aspects of his businesses, using deception, intimidation, and the resources of his interconnected corporate entities to perpetuate the scheme and to protect its illicit profits. The Enterprise. From at least January 8th, 2021 through October 5th, 2024, Dillard, Soto Moreno, and others known and unknown to the grand jury were employees and associates of a criminal enterprise. Employees and associates of the enterprise engaged in, attempted to engage in, and solicited others to engage in, among other crimes, theft by deception, theft by taking, assault and battery, false statements and writings, insurance fraud, commercial gambling, drug offenses, and money laundering. The enterprise, including its employees and associates, constituted an enterprise as defined by the OCGA statute. That is, a group of individuals and corporate entities associated in fact, although not a legal entity. The enterprises consisted of Brandon Alfonso Dillard, Elias Mauricio Soto Moreno, A-List Cosmetics, the Veneer Collection, A-List Institute, unindicted co-conspirators, individuals 1 through 9, others employed by and associated with A-List Cosmetics LLC, the Veneer Collection, and A-List Institute, and others known and unknown to the grand jury. Dillard, Soto Moreno, other employees and associates of the enterprise, and associated corporate entities maintained connections and relationships with each other and with the enterprise. The enterprise constituted an ongoing criminal organization whose employees, associates, and associated corporate entities functioned as a continuing unit for the common purpose of achieving the goals of the enterprise. And 1 second, y'all, I gotta write down a thought so I can bring it back to you later. Okay. The enterprise operated in Fulton County, Georgia, and elsewhere for a period sufficient to permit its employees, associates, and associated corporate entities to pursue its objectives. A-List Cosmetics was a domestic, limited liability company organized under the laws of the state of Georgia on or about January 8th, 2021, by Dillard and Individual A. Or Individual 1. A-List Cosmetics, which operated under the name A-List Smiles, served as the primary corporate entity through which the enterprise conducted unlicensed and illegal dental and medical procedures. The company operated through at least October 3rd, 2024. The Veneer Collection was a domestic profit corporation incorporated under the laws of the state of Georgia on or about September 20th, 2022 by Dillard. The Veneer Collection was used to sell veneer related products, including toothbrushes, toothpaste, and other similar items. These products were promoted and cross marketed with other components of the enterprise. The company operated through at least October 3rd, 2024. A-List Institute was a domestic limited liability company organized under the laws of the state of Georgia on or about September 21st, 2022 by Dillard. A-List Institute was used to offer and conduct fraudulent training courses in the placing of composite veneers to unwitting victims. The company operated through at least October 3rd, 2024. Each of these corporate entities maintained multiple connections with one another and with employees and associates of the enterprise. The companies shared finances with profits and expenses of one routinely commingled with those of the others through the same financial accounts. They operated out of the same principal place of business, including 400 Plasters Avenue, Suite 200, Atlanta, Georgia. The entities also shared leadership and professional support, including but not limited to Dillard as the leader of each entity and individual 3 as attorney for each. The entities were promoted together and cross-marketed on each other's social media accounts, were featured on the same website, and used the same contact information. The success of each entity was directly proportional to the success of the others, and the continued operation of each entity enriched employees and associates of the enterprise collectively. At all times relevant to the indictment, Dillard was the leader, organizer, and primary decision maker of the enterprise. Dillard exercised authority and control over the enterprise's operations, finances, and employees, and he directed others in furtherance of the enterprise's unlawful objectives. Dillard regularly and publicly held himself out as the owner, president, and CEO of A-List Cosmetics, the Veneer Collection, and A-List Institute. Through these corporate entities, Dillard promoted the enterprise, recruited victims and participants, and concealed the criminal nature of its activities. In his leadership role, Dillard represented the public face of the enterprise and received substantial personal financial benefits, including cash, designer clothing, luxury vehicles, a condominium, and other items of value derived from the proceeds of the enterprise's criminal activity. At all times relevant to the indictment, Soto Moreno was an associate of the enterprise. Soto Moreno was a dentist licensed to practice dentistry in the Republic of Colombia, but had no license or authority to practice dentistry in Georgia. Soto Moreno regularly assisted Dillard and other employees and associates of the enterprise in conducting fraudulent training courses in the placing of composite veneers. Soto Moreno regularly used his foreign credentials to lend a false appearance of legitimacy and professional credibility to the enterprise's operations. In exchange for his participation, Soto Moreno received substantial financial benefits, including payments, social media promotion, and other items of value derived from the proceeds of the enterprise's criminal activity. At all times relevant to the indictment, Individual 1 was an associate of the enterprise and served as second in command to Dillard. Individual 1 was in a romantic relationship with Dillard and resided with him in a luxury condominium purchased using the enterprise's proceeds. Individual 1 was listed as an organizer of A-List Cosmetics LLC at the time of its formation and actively oversaw and directed certain aspects of the enterprise's operations, including performing illegal dental procedures. Individual 1 received substantial personal financial benefits, including cash, designer clothing, luxury vehicles, a condominium, and other items of value derived from the proceeds of the enterprise's criminal activity. At all times relevant to the indictment, Individual 2 was an associate of the enterprise and served as Director of Operations for A-List Cosmetics. Individual 2 was a childhood friend of Dillard and was personally recruited by him to join the enterprise. In this role, Individual 2 handled payments, scheduling, communications, and administrative operations for A-List Cosmetics, including training and overseeing office staff members. Through her position, Individual 2 facilitated the day-to-day functions of the enterprise and assisted in maintaining the false appearance of a legitimate business. At all times relevant to the indictment, Individual 3 was an attorney for an associate of the enterprise. Oh, and an associate of the enterprise. Individual 3 advised Dillard and others on concealing the enterprise's crimes from the Georgia Board of Dentistry and other regulatory agencies, drafted false and misleading legal documents, and issued misleading cease and desist letters to silence whistleblowers who publicly exposed the enterprise's crimes. Individual 3 also advised employees and associates of the enterprise to falsely claim that their unlicensed and illegal veneer procedures were performed solely for theatrical purposes in an attempt to exploit a purported loophole in Georgia law governing the practice of dentistry. I'm taking a note. Drawing on her prior experience as a prosecutor, Individual 3 further advised Dillard and Individual 1 on methods to conceal evidence and shield the enterprise's assets from law enforcement to prevent their seizure. At all times relevant to the indictment, Individual 4 through 9 were employees of the enterprise. They performed day to day operational and administrative tasks, including answering telephones, scheduling appointments, cleaning facilities, performing and assisting with dental and medical procedures, and performing other routine functions necessary to maintaining the enterprise's criminal activity. Purposes of the enterprise. The purposes of the enterprise included, but were not limited to, the following: operating businesses that offered unlicensed and illegal dental and medical procedures, fraudulent veneer training courses, and related products and services to unwitting victims without proper licensure or authorization under Georgia law, generating substantial revenue and personal enrichment for employees and associates of the enterprise, particularly Dillard, Soto Moreno, and Individual 1, through the performance of illegal dental and medical procedures, the sale of veneer related products, and the conducting of fraudulent veneer training courses. Promoting the perceived professional image and reputation of Dillard as a successful business owner, entrepreneur, and media figure, expanding the reach and profits of the enterprise by attracting new victims for its illegal services, products, and courses, concealing the illegal nature of the enterprise's operations and assets from authorities, victims, and the public through false statements and misrepresentations, and utilizing the resources of the enterprise to enhance its public profile, maintain the false appearance of legitimacy, attract additional victims, and support the personal and financial goals of Dillard and other employees and associates of the enterprise. I'm writing a quick note. I'm writing them as I think of them so I can, through a pattern of racketeering activity, and, while associated with the enterprise, conspired and endeavored to conduct and participate in the enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity consisting of the commission, attempted commission, and solicitation of other persons to commit multiple crimes chargeable by indictment under records and reports of currency transactions, assault and battery, theft, false statements, tampering with evidence, commercial gambling, sale, distribution, and possession of dangerous drugs, and insurance fraud, and multiple acts involving theft, chargeable under the laws of Georgia and punishable by imprisonment for more than 1 year. It was part of the conspiracy that each defendant agreed that a conspirator would commit at least 2 acts of racketeering activity to effect the object of the conspiracy. It was further part of the conspiracy that these acts of racketeering activity would be in furtherance of one or more incidents, schemes, and transactions that had the same and similar intents, results, accomplices, victims, and methods of commission, and otherwise would be interrelated by distinguishing characteristics and would not be isolated incidents. Overt acts. Dillard, Soto, Moreno, individuals 1 through 9, and others known and unknown to the grand jury committed the following overt acts, among others, in furtherance of the conspiracy and to achieve the objectives of the enterprise. Acts involving the enterprise's business structure. On or about January 8, 2021, Dillard filed articles of organization to create A-List Cosmetics, the primary corporate entity through which the enterprise operated. The articles listed Dillard as the entity's registered agent, organizer, and authorizer, and listed Individual 1 as the entity's second organizer. On or about June 17, 2021, Dillard filed an application for a City of Atlanta business license that falsely stated A-List Cosmetics LLC's industry classification was cosmetics, beauty supplies, and perfume stores to conceal the true nature of the enterprise's operations. On or about February 25th, 2022, Dillard filed an annual registration for A-List Cosmetics with the Georgia Secretary of State that listed Dillard as the entity's registered agent, organizer, and authorizer. On or about September 20th, 2022, Individual 3 filed articles of incorporation with the Georgia Secretary of State to create the Veneer Collection, the corporate entity through which veneer related products were sold and cross marketed with other components of the enterprise. The articles listed Dillard as the entity's registered agent, incorporator, owner, and CEO, and listed Individual 3 as the entity's authorizer and attorney in fact. On or about September 21st, 2022, Individual 3 filed articles of organization to create A-List Institute, the corporate entity through which the fraudulent training courses in the placing of composite veneers were offered and conducted. The articles listed Dillard as the entity's registered agent, organizer, owner, and CEO, and listed Individual 3 as the entity's authorizer and attorney in fact. On or about March 27th, 2023, Individual 3 filed an amended annual registration for A-List Cosmetics that listed Dillard as the entity's registered agent and listed Individual 3 as the entity's authorizer and attorney in fact. On or about March 27th, 2023, Individual 3 filed an annual registration for the Veneer Collection that listed Dillard as the entity's registered agent, CEO, CFO, and secretary, and listed Individual 3 as the entity's authorizer and attorney in fact. On or about March 27th, 2023, Individual 3 filed an annual registration for A-List Institute that listed Dillard as the entity's registered agent and listed Individual 3 as the entity's authorizer and attorney in fact. On or about May 4th, 2023, Dillard filed an application for a City of Atlanta business license that falsely stated A-List Cosmetics industry classification was cosmetics, beauty supplies, and perfume stores to conceal the true nature of the enterprise's operations. On or about March 26, 2024, Individual 3 filed an annual registration for A-List Cosmetics that listed Dillard as the entity's registered agent and listed Individual 3 as the entity's authorizer and attorney in fact. Acts involving financial accounts and transactions. On or about February 28, 2021, Dillard opened a PayPal account in the name of A-List Cosmetics. During the existence of the enterprise, Dillard received at least $1,100,524.63 in United States currency using this account. On or about March 3rd, 2021, Dillard opened a Cash App account in the name of A-List Smiles Atlanta, and on or about September 24th, 2021, assigned the cash tag the A-List CEO to the account. During the existence of the enterprise, Dillard received at least $198,755.26 in United States currency using this account. On or about March 15th, 2021, Dillard opened a personal checking account with First Citizens Bank in his own name. On or about April 23rd, 2021, Dillard opened a business checking account with First Citizens Bank in the name of A-List Cosmetics. This account served as the primary account for receiving and transferring proceeds of the enterprise's criminal activity. During the existence of the enterprise, Dillard regularly transferred large sums from this account to his personal checking account, ending in 8159 into Individual 1. On or about May 20th, 2021, Dillard linked the PayPal account with the First Citizens Bank business checking account, allowing transfers of funds between the two accounts. On or about June 15th, 2021, Dillard opened a Paychex Flex account with Paychex Inc. in the name of A-List Cosmetics. The account was used to administer weekly payroll to employees and associates of the enterprise, including Dillard and individuals 1, 2, and 4 through 9. The account was funded by the First Citizens Bank business checking account. During the existence of the enterprise, at least 443 weekly payroll checks totaling at least $397,284.36 were issued to employees and associates of the enterprise. On or about September 26, 2021, Dillard linked the Cash App account with the cash tag, the A-List CEO, to his personal checking account, allowing transfers of funds between the two accounts. On or about July 1st, 2022, Dillard opened a merchant account with Cherry Technologies in the name of A-List Cosmetics. In opening the account, Dillard falsely represented that A-List Cosmetics was a legitimate dental practice. Dillard used the account to offer financing to victims who paid thousands of dollars for illegal dental and medical procedures and fraudulent training courses. During the existence of the enterprise, Dillard received at least $159,526.05 in U.S. currency in the First Citizens Bank business checking account from transactions financed through Cherry. On or about January 27, 2023, Dillard linked the Cash App account with the cash tag the A-List CEO to the First Citizens Bank business checking account, allowing transfers of funds between the two accounts. On or about September 13th, 2024, Dillard processed a fraudulent payroll transaction through the Paychex Flex account in the name of A-List Cosmetics, issuing a payroll check to himself in the amount of $49,545. This amount was substantially larger than any prior payroll check issued to Dillard through Paychex. When Paychex attempted to debit the corresponding funds from the First Citizens Bank business check account, the transaction was declined for insufficient funds. Hold on, I got to make a note about that one. I hope I can read my handwriting later. When I write, I'm writing like trying to write all fast and everything. Okay, it says acts involving social media and online presence. During the existence of the enterprise, Dillard and other employees and associates of the enterprise regularly use social media and other elements of their online presence to advertise and promote the enterprise and its unlawful activities. On or about February 2nd, 2021, Dillard created an Instagram account with the username A List Smiles Atlanta, which served as the enterprise's primary social media account and online presence. The account had more than 150,000 followers and described Dillard as Atlanta's top veneer specialist and trainer. The account featured hundreds of images and short form videos of Dillard and other employees and associates of the enterprise performing illegal dental procedures, promoted fraudulent veneer training courses, included cross marketing for the Veneer Collection line of veneer related products, and featured posts with social media influencers who received free or discounted procedures in exchange for promotional content. I'm taking a note. Okay. On or about March 2nd, 2022, Individual 2 created the domain name alistsmilesatl.com, which was the primary website used by the enterprise to promote its illegal dental and medical procedures and fraudulent training courses. The website included images of Dillard with social media influencers and of victims who had veneers placed by Dillard, information about veneer procedures, and links to social media accounts used to promote the enterprise. The website also contained a calendar appointment system that allowed members of the public to schedule various procedures, including, but not limited to, composite and porcelain veneers, deep cleanings, braces removal, bridges, and fillings. The website further offered the ability to pay an additional fee to have procedures performed personally by Dillard. So you could pay more to have him do the procedure. I'm writing it down. Hold on. Okay. On or about March 2nd, 2022, Dillard created a TikTok account with the username A List Smiles Atlanta. The account had more than 40,000 followers and more than 450,000 total likes. The account featured short form videos of Dillard and other employees and associates of the enterprise performing illegal dental procedures, promoted fraudulent veneer training courses, included cross marketing for the Veneer Collection line of veneer maintenance products, and featured posts with social media influencers who received free or discounted procedures in exchange for promotional content. On or about January 9th, 2023, Dillard created or caused to be created an Instagram account with the username A List Skin Beauty, which was the primary social media account used to promote the enterprise's illegal medical procedures, including lip and facial filler, non surgical Brazilian butt lift procedures, and other cosmetic services. The account's profile stated Atlanta body fillers and facial experts, non surgical BBL, facial contouring with dermal fillers, post op care, body sculpting, facials, laser hair removal, and more. On or about February 4th, 2023, Dillard created or caused to be created an Instagram account with the username A List Institute, which was the primary social media account used to promote the enterprise's fraudulent veneer training courses. The account's profile stated veneer training classes, the number one veneer training specialist. And then that's where I'm stopping for part one. So I can give my thoughts and I can go back and read y'all's comments now. So let me look at your comments first. And hey to everybody that came in. Let me see. Okay, Leia's grandma said, "How was he able to do so many? He had to have had some training. He was trained by the dentist that he worked with, Soto Moreno, the one that isn't licensed in Georgia but came from Colombia and was a dentist from that country, but wasn't a dentist, for here. So yeah, he probably got some mm, you know, he got something, but he was not properly trained. If you came in later, he his highest education was a high school equivalency diploma, and no other training outside of that, no certifications, no other training. That's it. That's where his education stopped. Candace said the nerve of having several LLCs for illegal activities is mind blowing. Right. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it off as one of my notes because my thing was, I'm like, his defense is probably going to argue that I can't say they're probably. In my brain, one of the things I feel like his defense may say is he wasn't hiding. He was in plain sight. He thought he was doing everything legitimately. He thought he could count it as theatrical versus a dental practice because that's what an attorney that used to be a prosecutor that was a part of his organization told him he could do. He's innocent. He didn't know any better. He was told he could do that. um, so that's what I feel like he's gonna say about that's what I feel like one of his defenses will be. And let's see here. Hey EBT said that's some big biz stuff for doing things you know ain't right. That's okay. Next note was the payroll for me. So 443 payroll checks were sent out. Again, they're going to say, why would he legitimately issue payroll and have all this admin and a paper trail if he thought he was doing something illegal? That's what I feel like is also going to come out. Why would he have people legitimately on payroll? He paid people over $250,000 over the time of his business. He was employing people to feed their families. I'm just waiting. I hope it's televised. I really hope we can see the trial live streamed. Imagine the amount of people whose lives are forever changed. Right. Because see, I'm stopping so I can make sure I'm fresh as I read through this. We're not done. We're done with part 1, but we're not done with this document. I'm on page 18 of 65 pages. We haven't even gotten to assault and battery and some other things. So, yes, it's still coming. We haven't gotten to the physical damage that they have done to people. We're only on the financial gain type part of it right now. Folks will fall for anything just to save a dollar. Go to a real dentist. Well, here's the thing, and this is why he's in one of the reasons he's in so much trouble. He used Dr. Soto Moreno, and I'm gonna still call him a doctor because he was a dentist and everything in Colombia. He used him to look legitimate to people. This is not like those basement ones almost. I mean, now once the damage is done, I'm sure you can suspect, and maybe some other ways people will say like, I suspected something was off, but he did use, that's why now that's why he used that dentist to even look legitimate. But I also want to say that it was interesting that when I was reading the document, only the dentist, which is good, the dentist does need to be on the indictment, and Dillard are the only ones that are listed as a person, but they do still say individual one, which would be his girlfriend. She was in there furthering the enterprise too, but she's not listed on the indictment, nor is individual 3, which is the attorney, signing off on these articles of incorporation, sending out those threatening cease and desist letters that never should have gone out, giving horrible advice on where to hide the funds and everything else. They're not being indicted, at least on this. I don't know, and that tells me they must be cooperating. They must be, because why aren't you on this indictment? You were very much a part of this. The employees, I can understand, they may have just thought, I'm just going to work. I found a job. I'm getting a paycheck. I don't have a reason to suspect anything otherwise. But that attorney and the girlfriend and the childhood friend, I, I'm suspecting them. But they must have started talking. That's my guess. I don't know what happened though. Let me see. Going down. So the trainer has dipped out. The trainer is the dentist. He can't dip because he is on this indictment. Why didn't he get any certified training? He seems like he would have passed all the training courses. Would he have passed? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If he did, I don't know. Maybe he would have passed them. He didn't take them though. I don't know what to say. He didn't do it. YouTube University does not count as official training or education. Gigi said that Arts got greedy, and once again, the internet gotta post everything, takes another down. Now, who is he taking with him, right? Dental health is connected to your entire body's health. Yeah, it is. It's crazy. His first red flag should have been Colombia. No, 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 no. See, this should not have been a red flag to me. As long as that dentist then came over here and got his credentials over here, because I have heard of so many people that come from other countries. They are so smart. They are very well trained. Um, it's people that travel outside of here to go see doctors that aren't, the doctors that specialize in things that, the training is sometimes better in other countries and stuff like that. So I can't say just because he came from Colombia that's the red flag, because there's medical professionals there. They're doing it. They're doing everything. But now this person is a red flag, because why didn't you seek your licensure for the state of Georgia? Why did you try to go under the radar and not stay under the board and be monitored like you're supposed to? That's my question. I'm looking at my notes for the other things I wrote down that I didn't see in y'all's comments. Okay, I said individual one, who was his girlfriend, must have told. The theatrical purpose is crazy to operate under as well. Crazy to operate under, because that's their whole thing is, we weren't doing dentistry, but it said they were doing fillings and all kinds of stuff. But the attorney, individual number 3, who was not indicted on here, was like, oh, file it under theatrical purposes or whatever. The celebrities, I do want to kind of explore TikTok on some casual kind of stuff and see what celebrities were endorsing him. Because if they were endorsing him, that means they got services from them for free in exchange to promote this place. So I'm like, who was it? Because somebody got fooled. And I know celebrities is used lightly, so I may not know those people. I don't know for sure, but I would like to see if because even if they took it down, people screen record. Largest, let me see, largest right in operation. Oh, the largest transaction right before the end of operation. Something that's going to come up is that the individual number 3, who is the attorney in all this, who is not being indicted. I keep repeating this because it's crazy to me, but they're accused of advising Brandon on how to start transferring assets. And I think that large transaction was a part of that, because he tried to do that in September of 2024, and they said the enterprise operated up until October 2024. So that's a real close coincidence. The walls must have been closing in. So I'm wondering, but then they said it was insufficient funds, and it wasn't going to allow him to transfer that amount. Let me see, promotional. Okay, I talked about the celebrities. More for the audacity. The last thing I have is y'all already know I gotta talk about somebody's audacity. The audacity that on your website to charge a larger fee for your untrained, unlicensed behind, and I'm talking about Brandon Dillard. If people wanted to actually get their procedure done from Brandon, who has no real training, you had to pay more to see Brandon than somebody else. I cannot make this up. You cannot make this up. Okay, so that is part 1. So for part 2, we'll be starting at acts involving fraudulent training courses. So we'll get into that next. But we're stopping here because, again, I can only hold y'all for so long. This document is long, but I would like to know what else y'all think about it. And I hear you, Gigi. You said you see my point, and Google is everyone's friend. I'm just saying it is. That is true. Now, and I guess you should be able to look up a dentist either maybe license number or something like to prove they're on the board currently. That would, if you can, I would definitely advise that with any doctor or anything. If you can do things like that, I would. Also, although they were trying to intimidate the whistleblowers, I'm sure there were some things out there showing like, hey, they're messing up people's mouths. Don't trust them, which is why reviews are so important. Reviews outside of the website, because of course the website might only show the best of the best is their website. So third party reviews are really the best way to go. And TikTok is good for some real time reviews. If you don't have TikTok for anything else, if you're thinking of going somewhere, somebody has gone, and you can start seeing how they really honestly felt about it. Let's see. Hey Inez, thank you for pulling readings. Oh, you're very welcome, Gigi. Thank you for being here. You can look up any medical professional licensures. Okay, yeah, yep. That would always help because outside of this, the and then they're talking about they're doing cosmetic stuff too. Outside of him, any you want to make sure you're going to board certified people to make sure you at least they have some skin in the game. They have something to lose, and they'll be more careful with you because they have a lot more to lose than people that are not board certified or licensed at all and stuff like that. So just be careful. Last thought I have right now, unless I see something else that y'all say, is that I saw LaDon's comment, so I did it. I distracted myself. Hold on, I'm coming to you, LaDon. Oh, the girl we're looking at now, the fake braces installer girl. I'm with Sweet Tea. Sweet Tea did say in the comment section that she kind of also suspects that the girl might be trolling. There's that it might be fake. And I want to say that as I follow this girl, the fake braces installer girl, I also withhold a little percentage of like 25 to 30% of myself that's like, maybe you are just catching the wave of if I do this and say I'm doing this right now, I know I can go viral and I haven't even actually touched anyone's mouth. I just keep advertising a service I've never actually done. You know what I mean? I feel like it because otherwise the alternative is that she's really that stupid. And I don't I'm like, is anybody this stupid? Because see, with Brandon, I don't know how much was the scheme for real to always be illegal, or that he was convinced by um the attorney that no, you actually can do it in this is where you can do it. People give cosmetic veneers all the time. That's not the same thing as real dentistry, blah blah blah. But it also said he was doing braces is dentistry, and veneers are too apparently. But you know what I'm saying, like. And then I also want to know, is Brandon's defense gonna say Dr. Soto Moreno was deceptive to him and he didn't tell him he didn't have a current license or he wasn't currently board certified here in the United States, specifically the state of Georgia? I just want to know what is the angle his defense is going to go. You know what I mean? I'm so curious. I need this trial to be streamed so bad, and I think maybe it can be because his was it his bond hearing? It was something that actually did. They had cameras and stuff rolling, so I'm hopeful. Whenever I see that, I'm hopeful that we'll actually be able to see the trial as well be streamed. Okay, LaDon said, "Can they get their money back?" They can sue. They always can sue. He's probably not gonna have any money to give them, but they can sue civilly. Because if you're trying to get money back, that's gonna be civil. Um, we'll see if they get some justice criminally. And again, I haven't even gotten to what have they done to those people's mouths that they tried to silence. Because that's gonna be a big deal too. I feel like, and I'm wondering. I don't know if that's why, but I'm like, is the document this long to talk about some of the victims and what specifically happened to their mouths? Okay, and then Gwen just said, I wonder if clients can sue them. Kim said, you're right, Trending. If you want to know about anything, it's on TikTok. It is. It is. And you can get a good balance going because some people be lying on TikTok. Obviously, that's how their TikTok account was lying. And then I'm like, did y'all do well on the celebrities? Because they'll do that too. The celebrity or the promotional person, they'll give them the best of the best of something, and then you get the worst of the worst. But the celebrity got what they got. So I do wonder that too. Hey, sweet tea, I was just talking about your comment about that braces girl. Like I'm 30% she's faking and trolling. Oh, and let me give you my other reason why I think that the fake braces girl is faking and trolling. Possibly because when she did that thing about showing, oh my God, y'all look, my kids opened their Christmas presents before Christmas. I can't believe they did that. Then she came back later 2 or 3 times and was like, y'all are so funny. I know exactly what to say to get you worked up. And I'm like, well, you could apply that to anything in your account. And I'm gonna go back and check, but I don't know how long her this account has been open that's called I Do Braces. It might be a short time account around the time the stuff started going viral about Brandon. And it's like, hey, let me jump in this algorithm. So 30% is reserved for her to just be trolling us. 70% is she is really that dumb. And we will see which one it is eventually. One's going to happen, one's going to show itself. So I'll reserve a little bit with Sweet Tea on that one that she might be trolling people. Because I know she showed pictures of people's mouths, but I don't know if she ever showed herself doing it. I don't know if she just got people with braces in a chair and it's like, hey, I don't know what that girl's doing, you know? So I just reserve the right, especially, people do anything for clout. They don't care. So I just have to wait and see. Were you just trying to be however you could get the numbers, you could get the numbers, or are you really a scammer, a booster? You about to go to jail for felonies? Like what's going on? So if y'all want to follow along with that, I'm also looking at the fake braces girl. There's no legal documents on her because it's all just her flaunting it online. Now I have seen we watched the luncheon lawyer respond to her. So the luncheon lawyer, you know, I'd say she took it seriously enough to comment on it, but I don't know what that girl's doing. She keeps putting up posters and stuff like, 150 $150 braces, and I'm coming, I do it in this area. But I don't know if she's actually accepting money. I need people to start coming out to be like, she did my braces. Because the only one I saw was that comment from user 1,000,005, like no real profile picture, nothing saying, I just know that when you did my braces, they were great. And, that could be her friend helping perpetuate this thing that keeps staying in the algorithm. So it's just going to be interesting however that turns out. I'm here to follow it either way. But I have to remember to hold some of myself back that people will play with you on the internet. So we'll see. All right, y'all. So that is the end of this one. This is part one. I've built a playlist. So if you can't catch the live, the playlist is already started. So you can go ahead and just, catch up in part two, part three, if you're not here to see it in real time. Replay Gang Gang, let me know what y'all think when y'all end up watching this. As always, I'm so happy to see y'all. Glad you were here. And I will see y'all later. All right. Bye.